Welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom with KJ.
And Mike?
Yes, see, there's two of us, but we have two special guests today because it's Corey's birthday, and he didn't want to come on his birthday, so fuck that guy. Well, actually, did want to come on his birthday. I think that's actually why he's not here, if we're being honest. But our guests are going to be Casey and Dan. Hi, Casey and Dan.
Hello. I would like to just have a little separation. It's Casey and Dan, not Casey and Dan. We don't come together.
Haven't you, though?
No. There's always a delay.
Always a delay, so one of you comes first.
What's the next turn?
All right, so Dan just joined us last week for the first time when we talked about Dungeons & Dragons, and Casey's kind of been a staple of guest starring here and there, and we're about at our 1 year mark. I think that's in 2 weeks. So we've been doing this for a while. It's a lot of time of talking.
I don't know, we did it was in April.
So April is when we recorded the first episode on my phone, and it sounded awful. But it actually aired for the first time like May 2nd or May 4th. So yeah, we've got like 2 more episodes, and then we'll be on our 1 year, which will be our 50th episode, which means we did miss 2 weeks. That's not that bad.
Yeah, well, there one in like November or something.
Yeah, I was
camping.
sick, and then I was camping, and
yeah. Well, that one was in June.
Yeah, I think
you're
so.
Like, I'm not taping.
Well, that wasn't June.
Camping.
That was in September when I went camping. June is this year when I'm camping. Okay. And renting jet skis.
I know.
Fun.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Good man. Anyway, so this week, we're not really going to be talking about a specific subject, but instead be talking about nerdy stuff. Because that's kind of the whole point of this podcast. We've talked about movies, we've talked about TV shows, we've talked about comics, we've talked about action figures, we've talked about playing cards, we've talked about video games.
This will be the first actual episode of Talking Nerdy in the bedroom.
It's true. And
although, technically, this is not a bedroom.
So it was for many years until
this is
the
just
podcast
a room,
took over.
Though. There's not a single bed in
here. There was many beds in here.
Okay, but now it's not.
Well, that's the whole point of this podcast. It's like you don't remember last year.
Many beds. Was this a boarding house?
Though there was different beds. So at first, this was my bedroom when I first moved in. But it gets ungodly hot in here in the summertime. And as you can, well, you probably can't see, but Mike, move that curtain real quick. Let him see how small-ass windows these are. That's not what I meant, you fuck. Pull it back. Let him see the window.
I was a little scared there.
Okay, so
that's tiny.
It's so fucking small. So that's why I had to have an AC like that. So I moved my bed over there, and then this became a guest room, and it just ended up being one of those things where it just was a guest room forever. And then when we did a podcast, I was like, well, I've got a giant empty space. I might as well move the bed into the other room, and here we are.
It still can be. This is like college level Airbnb millionaire status. Like, you could, for all the kids going downtown to go get drunk who don't want to go back, you could be like, hey, just come crash on the floor of my podcast studio.
Oh,
like, that's like their...
Do you think they'd want to be on the floor, or do they want to be like you on the casting couch?
No, they would want it like real life drunken podcast, like passed out, like everyone they listen to about all the best college parties, like live that experience here while you're drunk. You might have to clean a lot of vomit up off the floor.
Yeah, I think you need a plastic table in the middle, though, really to set the mood.
I feel like none of this sounds good for me.
Why?
You can make money.
Airbnb money.
Yeah, fuck those people.
I don't know.
All right, Verbo it is. Jeez.
All right.
Is that how you pronounce it? Verbo?
I don't know.
VRBO?
I was just guessing.
I thought it was like what your car sounds like when it backfires.
I don't know. I learned a long time ago to be careful how you pronounce things.
Because people care?
No, because Alex Shell. Ever tell you about that? The first time I called the Super Nintendo Entertainment System the SNES, I was met with judgment and wrath like you wouldn't imagine. Huh?
Who the fuck calls it SNES?
He did.
I did. SNES. SNES. And it wasn't just me. There was other famous game people who said it.
Oh, listen to you now.
Plus, my dad probably said it when I was a kid.
Doesn't mean your dad was right. He was clearly wrong.
My mom
Don't tell my dad that.
My mom called every card game Pokemon. Go pick up your Pokemon cards. I had like magic cards in my backpack or whatever. Yeah, pick up your Pokemon cards.
My students honestly think that I think Pokemon is called Pokemans.
Pokemans.
You've just kept that going.
I just every time they bring it up, I'm like, oh, I love Pokemans, and they're like, it's Pokemon, and I'm like, yeah, that's what I said. Just keep going. Oh, they get so mad.
All right. So one of the reasons I actually wanted to have a discussion about nerdy things within this bedroom that have nothing to do with necessarily media is just kind of wondering when you guys actually realized that you were nerdy. Was it something that you just immediately knew as you were growing up because you like certain things? Did someone just call you a nerd and you're like, sounds right to me? Or was it something that you've saw that culture of being nerdy and then went, that kind of sounds fun. Let's go do that. Like, where did you guys kind of start out in the sense of nerd? Because if we were to put the four of us in a lineup, I feel like 99% of the population could pick three of us out as nerds. And one of us might, like, skate by as not looking like a nerd because he's a bitch. That's you. Yeah.
In 5th grade, I taught my teacher how to use a protractor.
He's talking about a John Deere, a protractor.
Oh, okay. That sounds better.
I am also a protractor. Brum brum. Verbo. Pow.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, so Mike, did you know, was that the moment you knew you were a nerd, or was it before that, or did you just...
I was born with a pocket protector and a calculator.
I feel bad for your mom.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm actually half cyborg.
Half cyborg.
Yeah.
Okay.
The lower half.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beep boop, give me your poon.
It might not be big, but it's like a sewing machine.
I'll say literally, it's a sewing machine.
No, I don't know. I guess I've never really thought of it. There's no like defining period of being nerdy. I just like cool shit. Video games. I think the first time I got a Game Boy when I was, probably, I don't know, 6. I don't know when they came out. I want to say it was somewhere around 6. We had a trip to California, and my mom bought me a Game Boy, and I've been video gaming ever since. So I'm more a video gamer than, I don't know, really nerdy anything else. And then kind of
that's not true. Magic the Gathering is nerdy. Pokemon,
but that was like
is nerdy.
That's just big in our. I don't want to say big in our area, but like there's a lot of kids in our school that played Magic. There's a lot of kids that played Pokemon.
Yeah, they did, and then they stopped. Like that's what mostly happens in school, where you're going through. I don't want to call it a phase, but something like big happens in popular world, and then everybody loves it, and then it goes away. And what makes it nerdy is kind of the people that stuck with it, like until it becomes back into the ether of the world of being acceptable, so to speak. Like, there are people that hold on to something like a Pokemon. Like, Pokemon, when it first came out and swept the world, I don't think would be considered nerdy because everybody was doing it. And then, once Pokemon kind of went away, the people that held on to it, if you looked at them, you'd be like, okay, yeah, they're nerds. Not in a negative sense, but I'd be like, yeah, they're a nerd.
Yeah, I don't know. I never, like, fell into, like, a classification in our school because I played sports and stuff, too, so... I don't know. I don't.
Do you classify yourself as a nerd, even though you're in a podcast that has it in the title?
I mean, I am probably the less nerdy of the three, depending on what it comes to.
Okay.
But like,
yeah, adding
I also
that extra piece. Yeah.
I like really like sci-fi stuff. I don't know. I feel like nerdy is just like basis on like what you like. Like some people will say, "Oh, you're really nerdy because you like a lot of anime." But there's a lot of people that like anime. I like sci-fi. Like I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I like sci-fi, fantasy.
Yeah, but so some of the Star Wars stuff that you know off the top of your head definitely makes you a nerd about Star Wars.
Yeah, it just makes you a
fan.
Yeah.
But the more you know, like, you can be a fan of Star Wars like I am, but I can't rattle off everybody's fucking name or the name of their cruiser or all the planets or everything else like you and Corey can.
Yeah, but you can name every wrestler that's ever wrestled ever.
No, not every.
A vast majority of them.
A lot of them.
I know like 3 wrestlers.
I bet you know more than 3.
2. I don't know.
What about you, Dan? Was it something that you kind of like knew growing up that you were nerdy? Or was this something that was thrust upon you, or...
I grew up in the trenches.
The trenches of nerdy?
The nerd warfare. No, I was actually talking to Casey about this on the walk over. You know, when I was a kid, because I was
It
a
must
little
have
bit...
been a really short conversation.
You know, actually it was, like, no joke. So we were talking about how when I was a kid, just a few years before you guys, because I'm 41, the oldest of you is... 35. So that's 6 years. And that 6 years is oddly significant, and you'll see why. When I was a kid...
Like when I'm 21 and she's 14.
Yes. Like...
That's 7.
7.
It's good of you to know math.
Again, 2 is greater than 3.
But when I was a kid, it was like you had PBS and Nickelodeon. Those were your options for kids programming. And then by the time it got to the early 90s, when I was in like late, tweens, early teens, we started to see some of those other channels giving more than just Saturday morning cartoons. And we saw kids shows and kids programming become a bigger part of TV and separate into a lot of things. But when I was a kid, it was Thundercats, it was G.I. Joe, it was He-Man, Transformers. Like, it didn't matter who you were as a kid, or even the Snorks, or
Fraggle Rock.
Well, let's Fraggle Rock, because that wasn't a cartoon, but still, part of the same thing was all these fantastical fantasy worlds, and that was what every kid saw. So we all grew up with that, like, those nerdy things that still exist in today's culture, because you see Transformers, you see those things.
Did you end up having a moment where everybody else seemed to let go of that fantasy worlds and focused on more quote-unquote real stuff, while you were still like, no, this fantasy stuff is cool?
No, I don't. I mean, I'm sure there was a switch at some point in time, because there was also a societal expectation of, like, everyone does sports. And if you didn't do sports, you kind of went into that other amorphous, like, we're living in this other part of the world that we connect with and live with. And maybe not with other people, because we couldn't express that until I learned about Dungeons and Dragons by being a complete asshole to someone.
I can see that.
Yeah. And it was just, it was a time where, and that's why now, even if people aren't, like, people might go watch the new Star Wars film, or people might go watch a new Transformers film, or Cobra Kai being back. Like, these are all things that were popular during my childhood. I remember them. And there's this renaissance around them now in a way that I don't think ever has happened in culture before. And I don't understand why it's happening now to this extent.
I can tell you why. Because it's now your age group that is old enough to do this stuff, and they loved it at then, so it's all nostalgia.
Yeah,
right,
so
but, like,
your
what
age,
about the groups before us? What did they do?
They didn't like that nostalgia shit. It's our age that grew up, your age and my age, that has grown up, that are now at this part, that still holds that stuff, like, sacred, so to speak. And the years before us didn't really have that, where they held something sacred where they'd want to bring it back. They don't have that. We do. And that's why our shows, a lot of the shows that focus on nostalgia stuff, even if it's a new show, are still good. Like Stranger Things focuses on an era that we all think back to and go, oh, that was kind of a cool time. And they focus heavily on that, but it's still a newer story. But then, yes, you do have the Transformers, the Mario movie that just came out, things like that from all this time that have come out and has ended up being these, like, huge hit type of things. It's because now we're in the power, so to speak. And I'm sure in another 30 years or so, when the next generation moves into power, they'll have something else where maybe it's just everything is completely new, or everything is less nostalgia based, but more looking to, like, the past of the early 90s. And by early 90s, I mean early, not 1990s, but like the early 1900s, where they're focusing on stuff from there. Like, I don't know what the next generation or the generation after that is going to hold on to, but I know for us, we are very nostalgic. So I feel like we've just now gotten into the power of that, and we're all of ages now where we have disposable income. So how are you going to get those people to pay you money? Oh, I'm going to do what I like, because that's what everybody else likes too. At least from my perspective, that's why I believe that's why it's happening and having this resurgent. And I think as soon as like it happened once, and then it blew up. You know, everybody just went crazy over it as soon as they realized they could make money.
I feel like the newer generations aren't going to have that because, like, my kids don't hold on to, like, anything. Like, I don't know, like, I used to watch, like, Spider-Man growing up. Like, I would come home from school and I'd watch Spider-Man and X-Men and different things like that. And, like, now when I see it as I grow up, like, you have, you know, the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe and everything like that, like, my kids don't have anything.
Well, there's too many options. Like, everything is at literally their fingertips. So, in Dan's time,
that's what I'm saying.
Less
like,
options.
There's no,
with
like,
us,
this...
there was more, but still less than what there is now. So, there's nothing that's sacred, because how can you latch on to something?
That's what I'm saying. Like, my parents' generation, they didn't really have much to begin with. Like, they didn't have, I don't know, they didn't have, like, a lot of TV shows to watch. Like, I don't think my parents even had a TV until I was, I don't know, at least 3. I don't even think we didn't have a TV that I remember.
I remember the TVs that used to be the click. Like,
Right.
there's like 4 channels, 5 channels.
I had one. That's what
click,
I used.
click,
That's
click.
what I played my N64 on.
Yeah, it had to be on like channel 0 or something to
3.
get it. 3?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
3 and 4, you had to click a button on the Nintendo to pick which channel
Which
you were
channel,
on.
yeah.
But it only had 5 like buttons. It was like 3, 4, 5, 8. Like, weird.
We didn't need 6 and 7. Screw those numbers.
Yeah. And it was like a CRT TV. You had a separate click for adjusting the rabbit ears.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what we had.
Yeah, I feel like we're just now in an age where everything is too accessible, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. That's honestly what you want when you're thinking of evolving as a society. That's kind of what we've always done through everything. Everything gets easier as you go, as we advance with technology. Even when we invented the wheel way back when, made a lot of shit easier. And as we keep doing things, it just makes everything easier. So, but we are going to miss out, or not us, but the generations after us are going to miss out on that piece of holding things more sacred, just because everything is readily available. What about you, Casey, nerd-wise? Would you come out of the womb like Mike?
I mean,
He still hasn't.
not yet.
Still in there?
Yeah.
I liked a lot of the quote nerdy stuff. Like when I was not even necessarily a teenager, I would say from like probably like 7 or 8 to like 15, the nerds were pretty much anybody that played any video game that wasn't like Call of Duty or Battlefield. If you played anything other than that, you were a nerd, which that's fine. If you watched anything anime related, like if you watched Pokemon, you're a nerd.
Yeah.
Which I thought Pokemon was great. Like, you're 8 years old. What's better than watching a fantasy-driven world where
12-year-old
people
capture monsters.
enslave animals and make them fight for money? Like, it was great.
Well, they didn't fight for money either. They just fought for badges.
Oh, well, yeah, badges. You fight for money in the games, but...
That's
But yeah, it was a lot of that. Like, Pokemon, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh! Those became really, really big when I was between, like, 7 or 8 and 12. So those were things that me and a lot of my friends, again, like you said, like, latched onto. We really enjoyed them and then just never really left.
So,
Yeah.
Casey, I'm curious. I want you to put on a young child hat for a moment. I want you to imagine you're in 6th grade. So picture your 6th grade teacher, any of them, because I know you were here in Waterville, and I want you to picture a teacher eating a bag of like graham crackers. They're Pokemon graham crackers. They look in the bag, they grab a graham cracker, look at it, look at you, and throw it at you. What would you do?
Did I catch it?
Sure.
Probably eat it, because graham crackers are great.
So I threw it at this kid, and I hit him, and he goes, "What did you do that for?" And I said, "You see what it was?" So he picks it up and looks at it, and it was a Pokeball.
Oh, yeah.
So he just hops to the ground and like crumples up, and I was like, "Yeah, gotta collect them all."
Well, I mean, you didn't say that it was a Pokeball or that I was supposed to look at it.
Also,
I
should
know,
you be
left that
saying
out
that
there.
to kids? I gotta collect them all? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
feel like you should
totally
be
good.
at least saying that on something that's recorded, but that's just me.
Gotta get them all.
All right, yeah. For me, growing up, I definitely seemed to, at least in the early going, split between two worlds where I liked things that were nerdy, but noticed friends were dropping away from them while still enjoying them, but then also enjoying things that wouldn't be considered nerdy in the world. But then as those things kept progressing one way or the other, I was just like, yeah, this stuff seems more fun. Like, it's whether it's the fantasy part of it, whether it's video games where you're controlling some type of fantasy, some type of character, like those are just very fun and entertaining and is a way to just, I mean, not even for, I know a lot of people use them to escape their life and just so they feel like they have power over something. For me, video games have always just been fun way to relax, to just, if things are being stressful, it's a way to de-stress. If things are made just sad, it's a way to obviously release endorphins, because as soon as you achieve something within the game, you feel good about it. Or if you die
have
a
never
bunch of
played
times.
Dark Souls.
I was just about to say, if you die a bunch of times, then you break some controllers and experience rage. I think there has to be.
I'm here to de-stress. Plays Dark Souls, burns the house down.
Yes, plays any Souls-like game ever.
Yeah, those are rough. Those are rough. So when we're thinking of nerdy stuff, do you think that there's going to be a time? Now, again, I think a part of the reason why it's so much in the atmosphere right now is because our generation is old enough to put it back in the atmosphere. But do you think there's a time where that stuff's going to go away for in pop culture, so to speak? Like, is it something that you guys see as a fad that's going to go away when the next generation gets there and they focus more heavily on more not traditional nerdy stuff?
The only thing I can tell you is, and this is from the perspective of a teacher, because I see the younger generation, everything that we are into that is considered nerdy is a normal part of life for them. So like, we grew up with everyone watching sports. They're growing up with everyone watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I thought you were going to say everybody watching somebody play a video game.
No, well, that too.
Esports.
But
Also
like, so they have their shared experiences are now, because the global televised big events have changed because of all of these things that have become more popular over time. You had the rise of fantasy movies with Conan and things like that in the 80s. And that just kind of like was the stepping stone for this whole community to kind of come out and grow. And it's been growing to the point now where I think the younger generation is so accepting of what we consider nerdy that to them it's not actually nerdy at all.
Just normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for them it is literally just normal. Like, my kids talk about Dungeons and Dragons like it's not a big deal. I have 3 kids. Like, one of them a huge athlete, one of them big into band. They're reading like the rule books in class while we're talking about nonfiction reading.
Well, that probably should be how it actually is. Like, nothing really should be considered nerdy. It should just do what you like. If you like sports, play sports. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, play Dungeons and Dragons. If you like video games, play video games.
But that's what the kids now are growing up
Yeah.
with, is that they have all of these choices and they're encouraged to do these things and to not think that your thing is better than someone else's thing.
Yeah. Which is weird, because it's always been the other way, up until probably the last, I would guess, 10 or 15 years, where I know when I was in school, it was always one thing or the other. Like, if you like this, you were a nerd. If you like this, maybe you're a jock. If you like this, you're a goth. If you like this, you're this. And now it seems like, yeah, just do whatever. And you don't have to worry. Even if you're a jock and you did nerdy stuff, no other jock is really going to make fun of you nowadays compared to back then, where it's just full of ridicule. There was a ton of my friends that enjoyed certain things that stopped it just because everybody mocked them for it. And I don't know necessarily if it was actual mocking in the sense of joking around or if it was more bullying type stuff. But it definitely seems like because of the world that we live in now, everything is more accepting for whatever you want to do, and you're kind of pushed to figure out what you like and who cares what other people think.
Even anime, which, you know, is a different world of nerd that I didn't exist in. For kids now, they all watch it. Every single kid. And it's wild to see. And then they have the kids who like go way down the rabbit hole and get really into anime, but the kids look at them more with adoration for it than like the ridicule we might have seen when we were younger.
Right.
And it's just cool to see that shift in how they're looking at each other.
So very soon we might have to change this name to just normal in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Talking normal in the bedroom?
But I mean, I imagine that happens over time too. Once something becomes just so much more commonplace, it's commonplace.
Right. The world is shrinking. So again, I mean, what? Japan was feudal only, 100 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, if you told me there was going to be a successful Dungeons & Dragons movie when I was in high school, I would have laughed at you.
That's fair. Because then they did a movie, and it was bad.
Right. But even before that, like, it was like, oh yeah, it's this nerdy game on the side. They don't have enough money to do anything like that.
Or
I
would a
feel like,
studio put the money into it thinking they're going to get something back?
Stranger Things was a very good stepping stone to try to see what the general public would accept. And it was held in such high regard that they're like, yeah, we got to make a movie.
Well,
like
so
this.
it was the Duffer Brothers? Is that who
Yep.
it is? Yeah. So they're of the age too where nostalgia, like that stuff they grew up with. So that's why they wanted to go back there with their story, is to do that. And that shit they used to enjoy.
Right.
So again, that speaks to what I was saying before, is now those people that are
but still,
in
like,
charge
that-
of doing this.
That's a really big, like, kind of leap to go with. Like, oh, this could do really well. Hopefully, if everyone has like our set kind of mindset, or this could do really bad because
well, it
people
was on
might not care.
Netflix too. Netflix
Right.
was just for the first season.
I mean,
Netflix was throwing money at everybody to do shows.
and that whole like people drawing back to my culture had already kind of started in the background anyway, because Transformers had already been out and they'd redone G.I. Joe. So this whole revisiting that
Terribly.
time period
Yeah, I
was
gonna
kind
say.
of like already happening before Stranger Things was like, instead of reinventing it, let's use it. And then it was beautiful.
Right.
Yeah. So, does anybody know where the word nerd first came from?
It's a whale's penis.
That's a dork.
Yeah, I know. Did anyone else know that other than me
I
and
like
Stack?
that you had that just in your pocket, just ready to go.
I mean, who doesn't have one of those in their pocket?
A whale penis? Ooh.
No, but do we know who first coined the term nerd? It's probably not going to be who you expect.
Princess Leia, you scruffy-looking nerf herder.
That's a nerf.
And that was also in the 70s. This was in the
Oh, yeah,
50s.
nerf, not nerd. Wait, it got coined in the
first
50s?
nerd
In the
was the
50s.
It's got to be earlier than that. I thought it was
No,
like
it's the 50s.
Sir Conan O'Brien.
Dr. Seuss.
Can you give us... I love guessing games, but...
I just gave you the answer.
Wait, you said Dr. Seuss?
Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Oh, why did you say that before we could really guess?
Because I said it before you even said you were going to guess.
We
All
only
right,
got-
let's hear it in a sentence.
Well, it's initially coined by Dr. Seuss in the 1950 book, If I Ran a Zoo. In the book, the narrator states he'll collect a Nurgle, a nerd, and a seersucker too.
I would also like to collect a sucking nerd.
I don't think that's what it said.
Okay. I mean, I
I
got
have
one of
a
those.
story
at least
for
this
you.
yesterday.
That'd be cool too.
But it became popularized in the 1970s by a TV show. I'll let you guess.
That 70s show.
I mean, no.
That use... And did it use it in the way we think about it?
Yes.
Welcome back, Cotter.
No.
The Brady Bunch.
No.
I don't know 70s shows.
I also do not.
You're
Wheel of
in-
Fortune.
No. Don't think that was on in the 70s. You were on the right track with Brady Bunch in the sense of that type of era of TV
I Dream
show.
of Jeannie.
Nope. Keep going. Think of Nick at Night. Keep going. You got this.
Green Acres.
No.
I rubbed a genie.
Did you?
Bewitched.
Bewitched.
No.
What he said.
Think of a popular TV
Casablanca.
show that had kids at a school. There was a diner they used to go to.
Saved by the Bell.
There was always
Chips.
one very popular kid with
Grease?
leather jacket. Grease is a movie.
Grease is a Grease is a
Hey,
Uh,
The Fonz.
which was part of the show.
Happy Days?
Yes, that's where it actually got
something that
popularized.
Winkler?
Sean said.
Yeah,
And that's why it would always be that anything that wasn't that like machismo
Correct.
style.
yeah, that's
That
kind of
makes
where it
sense.
got popular, and then
Winkler
it's just
called someone a
say-
nerd?
many times.
Yeah,
Oh,
and he
God.
dropped the F-bomb too.
Did he?
Yeah, many times in Happy Days. He's like, "You fucking nerd."
Nuh-uh.
No.
I was like, what? The standards and practices wouldn't have allowed
First
that.
of all, he'd be like, hey, you fucking nerd. I'd do it right.
That didn't sound right either. That sounded like you were a
Hey.
mob boss.
You fucking nerd.
Gotta fucking put your feet in cement, throw you off a bridge. No? All right.
Wet
So-
cement?
Wait, no, not wet cement. In cement.
Yeah. You're just going to let it dry? Like,
Do you-
who the fuck does that?
So I got to say this: has anyone here watched Arrested Development?
Oh, of course.
His
been arrested.
character in Arrested Development
Whose?
was amazing. Henry Winkler.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So
He's great.
he was an attorney at law, and his first name was Bob, and his last name was Loblaw.
blah, blah, blah.
blah, blah.
It's great.
Bob Loblaw, attorney at law.
See, my favorite character in that isn't even like one of the main characters. It was always the doctor. I loved when he gave news. Like, he's going to be all right. Well, because he lost his left hand. So now he's all right. Yeah.
God.
There's so many of
No,
those.
it's doo-doo. Nothing, because he doesn't have a hand.
I see. This guy keeps it going.
Could be a foot pedal, though. Yeah.
Do you guys know what the
Truth.
actual definition of nerd is? Oh, the silence is deafening, boys.
Nobody eats rotten deer.
Okay, that would mean it's an acronym. It's not.
Now it is. Because you
So,
fucking do that, you're
One
a nerd.
who strays from the common culture.
So it's seen as an overly intellectual, obsessive introvert or lacking social skills.
I am not a nerd. I'm not an introvert.
And you're not overly intellectual either.
He's so funny.
I mean, it's right there. How do I not? But you're a little bit, you're obsessive about certain things. I definitely wouldn't call you introverted.
No.
But that's why I think
Although I don't think you're introvert. Well, kind of. You don't really like leaving your house very much.
if anybody invites me anywhere, I go.
No, so
fuck
you're
you
not
talking
introvert.
about?
You're not a nerd either. We are one third. We are one third
Well,
nerdy in the bedroom.
that's what I was about to say. We're 1/3 in the bedroom.
1/3 nerdy in the
nerdy.
bedroom.
Well, Corey's introverted.
That's what you said. We're 1/3.
Oh, so he's the 1/3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant we were each like 1/3.
This podcast is a sham.
I know, it's not even a bedroom, you said.
Yeah, it's 1/3 nerdy in a
Not
room.
nerds, not a bedroom.
Oh, it's great.
Stupid fucking name.
What I was going to say is that nerd definitely seems to have changed over the times. Like, that's the definition that it more or less has, but I feel like it has changed through popular culture of what a nerd is.
Okay, I got a Google search for you.
Oh,
What's
God.
the difference between nerd and geek?
Oh,
I think it's a technology thing.
Yeah, I think geekiness is more like hacking and you can build
Hacking.
things. And,
Geeks
Yeah,
are
with the head shake.
collection.
Yeah, every time you log on, you have a seizure.
So
Neo.
geeks are collection-oriented, gathering facts and mementos related to their subjects of interest.
That is
They
more
are
us than
obsessed with the
anything you-
newest, coolest, trendiest things that our subject has to offer. Nerd, intellectual, although again of a particular topic or field. We're kind of both, but yeah, we'd probably be more geeks than
Yeah.
nerds.
yeah,
Yeah.
Damn
I'm not
it.
changing the goddamn name.
talking geeky in the bedroom.
Yeah, that just sounds terrible. Like, it's supposed to play on obviously talking
geeky with
dirty.
the guys.
Well, where the fuck were you last year? Coming up with names.
I didn't know I wasn't a nerd. Okay?
I didn't
We're
know that.
changing
I'm
things.
coming
Classify
out.
me as a
I'm a
geek.
geek now.
Would I be a nerd? What would I be classified
Oh,
under this?
for sure a geek.
You think so?
You collect the stuff. You have the biggest collection of collectibles.
There's got to be a word for both, right? Like
Neek.
if you're both? It has
Gerd.
to be.
Gerd. Gertie.
Wait,
He's just, you're kind of girthy. I mean, Gertie.
Gertie.
Dude, I can't think about Gerd without thinking about Derek Carter complaining about that meal. Oh, my stomach hurts. Derek, shut up and go home.
Gerd?
Calls the next day. Oh, my appendix burst. All right, I feel bad about telling you to suck it up and go home.
Oh, so
I feel like Gerd is a type of cheese.
Gerd's
I-
gastrointestinal reflux disease.
yeah, that
It's
too.
what makes you go blah, blah, blah. like when you're like, I can't eat pepperoni.
Or hot tamales. Disguised as Mike and Ike's.
So I had a buddy who was supposed to be coming out with us to, I think it was a wrestling show back when I was 10, and he couldn't, like, we waited in line for tickets a month or two beforehand, like overnight, got the tickets, and then for the thing, for the actual show, he's like, oh, I can't go, my stomach, yada, yada, yada. We went to the show without him. The next day, his appendix burst. Like, so
Yikes.
there was actually something wrong, so you kind of feel a little bit bad. Like, okay, maybe you're not a little bitch, but it kind of seemed like you were being a little bitch. Like, maybe get your shit together and let's go watch grown, sweaty men hit each other or fake hit each other.
Get your shit together. Your appendix burst. Good for you. God, get your shit together with your diabetes.
It bursts inside you. It's not like you have to find all the pieces. They're all
Hey.
right there, self-contained.
What if it
That's what I'm saying.
does come out, though?
I mean, it doesn't.
What if your appendix bursts?
Well, appendix doesn't burst like that. There's not enough force to come out of your skin.
This is a lie again.
No, it's just like an alien.
Yeah, that's
The
what I'm
chest
thinking.
burster.
Have you seen it? Like it looks like does look like an alien head. Whenever you like look at like the medical pictures of what an appendix is, it always just looks like a tail that's hanging off your lower intestine. Like I could just imagine
It's not a tumor.
I haven't really spent much time looking at that. So,
appendixes.
yeah.
Do you have one?
Yeah,
You have
but
yours?
I've never actually taken the time to, I guess, admire its
Identify?
natural shape.
But sometimes I just take it out and play with it. Just wag it.
Jesus Christ.
It's just drain your appendix once in a while.
No.
I
sir,
don't
no,
think
do
that's
not.
a thing. I don't think
Do
that's
not
a
the
thing.
appendix.
Hook a
It's-
valve right up to it.
Gets filled up with drugs. Get
All
drained
right.
out.
So while we're talking about nerdy stuff, let's talk about the guy that's not here, whose birthday it is today, which is Mr. Corey Ballew, who decided that on his birthday he'd rather be home with family and celebrating, which just seems
Nerd.
lame, right? Yeah, exactly. Nerd.
Look at him flexing on having a family.
So he has wanted a surprise party for many years. So we've
Surprise! You didn't get one.
I feel like that's been the surprise every year for the last 34 years.
Got him.
So we are doing a surprise party for him, and because he is very into escape rooms and scavenger hunts, amazing race type stuff, we've decided to do that for him. And I have put together like some challenges, riddles, and things like that, along with getting help from some of the people in this room for Corey to solve some stuff and then eventually get to his surprise party. So we're going to go over some stuff now, which is news to some of the people sitting in this room, or maybe all of you. Like, I know Mike has a general understanding of what it is, but I don't think he has it all. So I'm going to go over some stuff and answer some questions for what we've got. So Corey's going to start out the day sleeping, as most of us do. And then when his wife gets home from working, she's going to hopefully slap him in the face with an envelope, which is what I told her to do. But it's Janie, so she probably won't.
What if she fucks up and just gives him a big ass paper cut? Like she's like, "Oh, wrong side of the envelope."
This is a better story. That's a better way to start the day.
Yikes.
Even worse, what if she does it on purpose?
On porpoise.
So she's going to give
Oh,
him...
that was a shovel, not the envelope.
It's an honest mistake, officer.
Yeah. You
So-
hit him with the back of the toilet. How the fuck?
All right. So
It's white.
he is going to get an envelope to begin with that it starts with a crossword puzzle. And because he's turning 35, there are 35 clues that he has to solve all about his life. Like one of the... actually, I think I have it.
How long does he have to do this? Is he timed?
So he's not timed, but he is timed. Because he needs to eventually
He's getting
leave
shit
his
together
house
and move on.
by 10 a.m. to get to my house. Because then he's got to get to Mike's house by 11 a.m. So it's time, but not time. Like Janie gets home from work around like 7 or 7:30, so she's gonna give it to him then, and he has to solve some stuff. Like
then she's gonna wake him up.
Is
Then
she
she's
gonna
wake him up?
Is he gonna take a shower before he starts leaving?
Hope it depends on how quick he gets shit done. Like if he gets it all done, then yes, he should have time to take a shower. If he doesn't have time, that's not on me. Because
It's
the end of this,
because this is the end. He's gonna have to go to lunch.
At the end, no, he won't even know what to do.
He's gonna smell like the food.
Hey, he might.
It's just
We'll put him by himself
Sushi.
on the other end of the table while we're on the good side.
yikes.
Yeah,
He's gonna be cranky.
I'm okay with it.
cranky
So
for
what's
him.
he? What's the clues that lead him to you?
Okay, so the first thing is going to be a crossword puzzle they have to solve. 35 questions. Like one of them is where you work, live long and blank, your last Halloween costume, things like that are all about his life that he should know. Now, there are some of them that are a little bit more tricky that he might not know, but we'll
Who are
figure
you
it out.
married to?
Well,
Like
yeah.
stuff that he doesn't know. You somehow discover deep, dark secrets.
Skeletons.
Well, that doesn't fit in that answer. That's not what it is. So
Your actual parents' names. What?
That's the side
Country of origin.
So once he solves
It's not USA? What?
once he solves the crossword puzzle, it's going to mark off certain letters on the puzzle, which he'll have to unscramble, which will tell him to look behind the Harry Potter poster that he has in his theater
Is this
room.
going to come with directions, or does he have just like guess how these things work?
What do you mean by direct? Well, a crossword puzzle shouldn't need directions, right?
Bet.
So,
I just fill stuff in that I think is cool.
and then the crossword puzzle does have a thing on the back that has marked off for how many letters and that it's 2 words, so he should be able to figure it out. Also, Janie's there, so she can kind of like nudge him in the right direction if needed.
Does she have like a guidebook for
She
those?
does.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
I took care of that. Don't you worry.
Redundancies is very important in this kind of thing.
So it's going to tell him to go look behind the Harry Potter poster. Behind the Harry Potter poster is 2 things. The first is an envelope that has Star Wars Trivia Part 1.
And the glue that holds it to the wall.
No.
There's 3 things. You're a liar. Moving on.
So he's going to have to answer Star Wars trivia, and then certain letters of those answers are going to eventually help him spell something out. He also then has to give all of his family members a hug and a kiss and tell them that he loves them before Janie gives him the second part of the clue, which is going to be more Star Wars trivia. And
I hope one of his kids throws a fit and is like, no!
No!
And just runs away and won't let him hug and
Are we
kiss
talking about
them.
like all of his family members? Does he have to fly to like St. Louis?
No. Just the kids.
Give me a brother. The stupid scavenger hunts told me to. I've been
doing this
for
for a
8
month.
hours.
So once he solves that, it'll tell him to go to the basement stairs. Then once he's at the basement stairs, he's going to what?
Fall down them.
Well, or Janie. Yeah, there you go. This is your last fucking birthday. So once he goes to the basement stairs, there's going to be a lockbox. On the lockbox is a riddle for him to solve where the key is. The key is actually going to be in Janie's gift for him last year, which was the Spider-Man helmet mask thing that he
What
has.
if he doesn't remember that?
That's on him. Like he's this is about him. If he can't know his own life, I got nothing for him.
Yikes.
Yeah. So once he finds the key, which should be pretty easy to find, then opens up the lockbox. Inside the lockbox is a Sudoku puzzle. Once he solves the Sudoku puzzle, Don't be giving me the...
He has 2 hours to figure all this stuff out.
Dude, I do all this shit in 5 minutes.
I know you would think
He
that
will...
you could.
The crossword puzzle will take him 5-10 minutes tops. Like, it's not that hard. It's about your life. Like, if I said the name of your kid is one across, you'd probably figure that out.
Oh?
The name.
You said one across. Is one...
Like,
Is one across, not one down.
Just one across.
Jesus.
Oh.
Remind me not to do this for Mike.
Just like,
So then he solves a Sudoku puzzle. Sudoku
should
puzzle
it be 6 across?
has 7 numbers that are highlighted off, which gives him my phone number, which he has to call me and give me the code that's on the back of the sheet, so I know he's not cheating.
What if he calls you and doesn't give you the code?
Then he's cheating.
Do you hang up on him? Like,
I'd
what's your call?
Be like, hey, what's the code? What do you mean? And then I'd be like, well, call me back when you got the code.
You got to do it like. Have you seen Beer Fest?
Yeah, of course.
What is the password?
Don't tempt me.
Is
'cause
the
I will
code
do
going to
that.
be something he'd recognize?
So the code is on the back of it, and it says you need to. So you have to use this phrase when you call KJ, which is KJ is a better poker player than you. And then give me the 3-digit number, which is certain numbers highlighted off on the Sudoku, which is actually 911.
Yikes.
Yes. So all that stuff has to be figured out, and again, it shouldn't take him that long.
Shouldn't it be like
So he-
420?
So he calls KJ.
Yes.
Yo, I got this number to call.
Well, he's gonna know my number as soon as he puts
I
it in his
saw it
phone.
on the
He's gonna
bathroom
know
wall.
that.
Hello,
It does say call for a good time. It does say call for a good time.
See?
Clearly, I have the wrong number.
From there, he's going to get another riddle for me on the phone, which will then point him to my house at 10 a.m., where he has to beat me in poker, which is probably going to not be easy for him because he's terrible. He's just so bad. I hope he listens to this. He's terrible. Once he is able to defeat me in poker, I'm going to give him a clue that points him to Mike's house, which is actually 10 lines or 10 sentences, and the first letter of each sentence spells out Mike's house. So that'll point him to Mike's house. And then when he gets there, that's on you guys. What are you guys doing?
We're going to Dungeon the Dragon.
That sounded more dirty than maybe you wanted it to, or did it sound just right?
It's
I
better
feel
than
like
Dragon the...
I was gonna say it sounds less
Better
dirty
than
than Dragon the
Dungeon.
Dungeon. You know
Yeah,
what I
that's
mean?
fair.
We're going to like BDSM it up.
Hey, it is his 35th. I mean, you got to do something new and different.
No, we're going to, because we have such a limited time, I'm going to do a system, that Overdeath Mega Kill thing I was talking about. Super simple to make characters and go. And do you want to be surprised by the story, or do you want to kind of know what it's going to
Oh,
be
I
now?
definitely want to be surprised.
Okay, then I can't tell you.
However, I still want to make his like princess cutout character sheet.
Well, you've got like 2 days.
Yeah.
So get on it.
Got nothing better. Well, actually, I got,
I've got nothing better
I got
to do.
Dead Island 2 to play tonight, so.
And we've also got the Dead movie tomorrow. Evil Dead movie.
Oh, yeah. By the way, I meant to get back to you. I am not available.
Shame on you, sir. Neither is this bitch
Tomorrow?
over here either.
Yeah.
It's all right. There's 7 of us. We'll be good.
Corey's coming?
Yep. And Dylan. So
Yes.
so yeah, so after you guys do D&D, what is your did you already figure out your riddle to send him to the next location? Is
Sure
it a good
did.
riddle?
Stack, what was the riddle I sent you?
I don't remember, but it's written down somewhere.
Well, as long
It's
as
going to be in
written
an
down.
envelope, right?
Yeah, I have a pen that will only show up with black light. So I'm going to write the message in that, and I'm going to...
Is the ink pea?
Yeah.
Nice.
I think it's like lemon
it's better.
juice.
And then I'm going to
I
make
like
a little like piece of paper for it, and I'm going to fold it over, and then I'm going to wax seal it, and I have like a skull wax
That's awesome.
seal stamp, so we'll use that as like the
What's
mission.
Where's the black light?
The pen has a black light in the cap, so I'm going to give him the pen as well.
It would be funny if it just died right then.
Oh, it doesn't work.
I actually think I have a black light at the house somewhere.
So once he has that, the riddle is going to point him to the movie theater, where Corey and I and Mike have spent many, many hours watching nerdy movies. He's going to have to go in there and ask for the Corey birthday special. and they will give him an envelope.
Should be a popcorn thing with a hole cut in it. A popcorn
Wait, you
bowl.
I don't
contacted
think
the movie
that they
theater and
would-
had them in on it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go over there tomorrow and give them to it. And I know
Are
a
they
couple people over
expecting
there.
this already?
No, but it's not gonna be an issue. I've talked to them, and the one guy that always sees me go in there because we go in there a lot to watch fucking movies.
They're VIP.
Yeah,
They get their whole popcorn bucket.
I hope they tell you, like, we can't accept any outside packages per our safety guidelines. You'd be screwed.
no, I just tape it to the fucking wall. Like I've got backup plans for backup plans.
You know what you should do?
Redundancy.
You should stick it in one of those coin machines so he has to spend like $80 trying to find it.
That'd be great.
Tie it to
claw
the
machine?
string in the
Yeah.
string machine.
To cut it.
Snip, damn it. Snip, damn it.
Yeah, those are miserable. I hate those.
Well, it'd have to be the claw machine because you got to get it in there somehow. I don't know how you get it in the snipper,
That's true. That's true.
but the claw machine, I think we could make that happen.
yeah, I mean, you could probably make it happen in.
And there's
the
0%
chain
chance that Claw's grabbing an envelope.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He
He's
stays
like-
there.
he's-
We've already eaten the hibachi. We've already gone home. He's still at the movie
$8
theater.
in.
So close. So then the next riddle that he gets is going to be everything is in lowercase letters except for the clue, which spells out spellbound, for him to go to spellbound to get his last clue, which he actually is going to think is his second to last clue. And have you guys ever heard of, I think it's called Rebus or Rebus puzzles?
Like Reba McEntire.
No, not like Reba McEntire.
Yeah, it's like 9 Reba McIntyres. You got to put them together.
Ugh.
They all have to wear yellow
They
raincoats.
all sing at the same time.
So no, a rebus puzzle is when you see an image and then you get. So let's say there's an image of a foot, and you have an arrow pointing to one of the toes, but then below the toe it says O equals H. What would you think that word is?
Toe.
Oh.
The.
The. Correct. So it's that type of puzzle that Corey's gonna have to solve.
What?
So if what's it pointing at? It's pointing at a toe, right? But then if below that it says O equals H. So if you have toe, TOE, the O equals H, THE. It's a rebus puzzle.
I hate it. Why would you have your first puzzle be a foot?
Well, it's a toe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the toe connected to?
The nothing. It's just a picture of a foot.
Toe bones
That's what I just
connected
said. Why
to
would you
the-
have your
That's
first
why I
one?
have
It
an
should be a
arrow
foot.
pointing to a toe. God, it's like you don't understand puzzles at all.
I like puzzles. Like the
One's like the jigsaw that
yeah,
you put together.
love jigsaw puzzles. I have a ton of them. They're all Star Wars though.
So anyway, he's gonna solve that. Eventually, it's gonna say the end is near. 2 puzzles left. Go to hibachi. Once he figures that out, he's gonna go to hibachi, thinking he has one more clue to solve, and he'll probably be overly frustrated, which I'm happy about. And then we'll all be there waiting for him with open arms to give him his birthday spankings.
How many of us is there going to be?
12 to 14.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, but
A
to be
hibachi
fair,
table.
5 of them is Corey and his family.
We should fuck with him and give him another fucking clue.
What? While we're
At
there?
hibachi.
At hibachi.
Hey,
But just-
we're
it's
all
not-
here for lunch. But,
Here's your next clue.
it says get a
You
clue.
should give him another clue after, but it doesn't do anything.
And Stack, are you actually dressing up?
I have a Viking hat that has beer, and I have your training sword. Other than that, I don't have much to dress up.
Okay,
But I am going to meet him at the door and be like, Adventurer!
I'm gonna bring a wizard's hat with me,
That's what I was thinking. A cool wizard.
but I'll have to bring something for him to wear. I have a jester's hat.
That works. That's good.
Okay,
That is good.
Just get
And
like
you-
get him
is-
like the tallest dunce hat you've
Is he
ever
allowed
seen.
to keep the jester's, not forever, but keep the jester's hat? And I can tell the people at the movie theater that a guy with a jester's hat is going to ask for
He's
the.
not wearing that.
yeah, he
Then they
won't do
will
it.
not give him the clue.
I don't.
I mean, I would say it's something one of my coworkers actually like made for me by hand, so I wouldn't want
Be a little
to.
possessive of it.
No, I just wouldn't want to have Corey like mess it up and feel bad that he messed up something personal.
Gotcha.
I think that's
Look at you thinking about Corey's feelings. I don't like this. Get out. We don't think about Corey. Fuck that guy. He didn't even show up to the podcast on his birthday.
I know.
It's just so
About
bitch.
his surprise birthday party. What a dick. How fucking dare you not
It'd be great for him to be
process?
here and just ruin it all.
If he's geeky enough, he's gonna pirate this before it comes out.
Dude, he's not geeky enough for fucking pirating.
He's gonna Neo this.
He's
stuff.
gonna
listening
Spider-Man
in
up
right
the
now,
window to your
actually.
house.
He's out there. What the hell is that device called where you can...
Grappling hook?
No.
Ham radio,
No. So you could hear from far away.
hearing aids.
Jesus Christ. No.
So you can hear from far
Yeah,
away?
like you can stand on the corner, hold up the little thing, and you can kind of like hear somebody's conversation from like 100 yards away.
Doesn't that really only exist in sci-fi films?
No,
They
they
have-
for football.
Yeah, they do have.
You got those dishes
A
that they hold.
microphone?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No, no.
And you can hear,
microphone
like,
is
Tom
this.
Brady be like,
"This is a microphone."
For two, fuck up.
Yeah, what he said. But yeah,
Well, you're not gonna hear him anymore, I guess.
yeah, it's fair. But anyway, he's he's not doing any of that. He's at his house now, probably enjoying cake or
He's
whatever.
outside the window.
I want to enjoy cake.
Well,
Can we go to Corey's house?
I mean, we'd be
I
random.
thought you just meant in general. You're just like, oh, I want to enjoy
I
cake.
do kind of want to. I went to Hillman's yesterday.
Oh, God.
Well, it's a bad idea.
No,
Dude,
no,
they
it was a
have
good
the
idea.
best.
Everything.
Are they?
Yeah, just
is
the
it
best.
Eclairs?
Bismarck's.
Bismarck's.
Yeah, Bismarck's and
Like
turnovers.
the fruit filled, delicious logs of yum.
The
You do like
fruit-filled,
logs,
delicious logs of yum.
Yeah. As long as they're fruit filled and delicious, I don't care.
I don't know about you guys. Let's go to Hillman's right now,
Right
too.
now. See ya.
Pretty sure they're closed.
I'll wait.
I mean,
All right.
locks are only suggestions.
That's true.
So then he gets to hibachi, and we've got the
Hello,
hibachi
Hamura.
chef in on this somehow.
God,
And
that'd
what
be
is the
great.
hibachi chef going to do for him?
Hopefully murder him. I mean, wouldn't that be a good story that we would then have for the rest of our lives?
No, you got to make it something nerdy.
Not the rest of his life. 'cause
Make it
he's dead.
something nerdy.
Kills him with a lightsaber.
That would be nerdy. And Corey would probably accept that way to die. Let's be honest.
But to be fair, we wouldn't get to watch him get cut in half. He'd just get beat to death with a fucking styrofoamed PVC pipe.
Have him say something a famous nerd character would say that Corey would never expect them to say. Like, ask him ahead of time. Be like, hey, it's my buddy's birthday. Can you make a specific joke to him about Star Wars? Or
I feel like if
something
it's at a
that.
hibachi restaurant, it has to be something like anime.
I just feel that if he's going to be making jokes, we should just be making jokes about Asian women and Corey's obsession.
Death by Snoo Snoo.
Futurama reference. Anyway, so let's wrap this thing up as Mike just tried to bite the microphone.
I thought it was a Bismarck.
Dude, that's what I had when I was there.
A Bismarck?
2 of them.
Oh my god. Which ones? Were they blueberry?
Jesus
There was a
Christ.
raspberry and
Off
a
the
blueberry. I
rails,
ate one and
gentlemen.
then the other. Oh, so good.
Dude,
Off
they have
the rails.
apple ones too?
Dude, I also got their carrot cake muffin thing.
Oh god.
I might have to clean that couch after. Feels like he's just
You know,
enjoying
probably.
himself over there, remembering.
I mean, to be fair, I can't say I blame him.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. So let's do final thoughts of nerdy stuff, final thoughts for Corey's surprise scavenger hunt amazing race party thingy. Let's start with Casey. Final thoughts and everything general. What you got?
I don't know. I've enjoyed being a nerd. I've done sports stuff. I've done nerd
I've
stuff.
enjoyed being live.
Yeah, I mean, being a nerd's great. I don't care if there's a moniker behind it or people think differently about it. I like the things that I like. You like the things that you like. I'm happy that you like things, and I wish you'd be happy that I like things.
Yeah, I don't care about people with monocles either.
Also, hibachi's going to be really good. I haven't been there in forever.
Yum.
And Corey's pretty cool, so I'm glad he's turning 35.
Don't you fucking work right next door?
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I go. I'm pretty sure the last time I went was when me and him got scorpion bowls after work.
That was sick.
Yeah, we'll get a scorpion bowl, gives it to both of us. I'd like one too. Oh.
I got one to go during COVID. It was pretty sick.
Great.
They were serving them to go.
Were you drinking it in the truck while you were driving?
No, not in.
Not that he'll admit.
They
on
weren't-
the
Oh,
podcast.
they weren't.
In my truck. I was gonna say, well, you can't drink on the job. It was after work. But anyway, they serve it to you in like the soup to go thing, like the big ones. Oh, so cool.
All right, Dan, closing thoughts. What you got?
I mean, my whole life has been lived as a nerd, and I'm proud of that. And I live in like a nerd mansion. So here for the nerds.
Here.
And geeks.
Hey, man.
And
What
geeks.
are you getting
Geeks.
down on me for saying something nerdy?
No, but you didn't say it with any enthusiasm.
That the person saying it for everybody else isn't supposed to. The enthusiasm comes from the crowd, my peasants, my peons.
See, now I feel like he wants to pee on me. Mike, what we got for closing thoughts?
It was good.
All right. You being a nerd is good?
Yeah, it was good. It was okay.
But now you realize you're not a nerd.
Give us 8.5.
What do you give a geek?
8.7.
Oh, so geek is better.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
We've already established that.
Well, we've established you are a geek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My side of it, yeah, being a nerd has been interesting. It's definitely. It feels like growing up as a nerd today would be a total trip, just because I don't know if you'd. Besides for the older generation calling you a nerd, there would be what do we do? What were we doing an orchestra?
No, I just had an idea that I was talking about with Casey. It's something nerdy, and I haven't brought it up to either of you unless you showed Stack the picture. So, you two are familiar with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, correct?
Sure.
You remember Krang?
Yeah.
Like
The alien.
the big pink blobby brain thing
Yeah,
that
the
would
alien
use
head.
the
Yeah.
robot suit? Grogu.
Oh, I've seen a shit ton of those memes.
Okay, real quick, and next week we are talking about The Mandalorian, so we're going to talk about it then. Did you guys watch the season finale yet?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
I'm not ruining it, but there's
You
this...
are ruining it
No,
by thinking about
Have
it.
you seen
I'm surprised
Team
they killed
America
Darth
World
Vader in
Police?
Yeah.
Okay, there's a scene with Grogu and Team
Shut
America
up.
World Police.
Mirakuya.
It's just the way he walks.
Yeah.
There's one scene, I don't know why they did it, but he's just walking like
Well, I mean,
that.
did you see him like do a flip
No.
into
Flip is fine.
Lizzo's arm
That's fine, but
to get the snack?
all his other walks have been like slowly moving, but then there's this walk where literally it's the legs from fucking Team America World Police. I couldn't stop laughing.
He's using the Force.
To walk his legs?
Yeah.
Fucking
Okay, you're
goddamn
ruining it
mariachi.
now.
Fucking, oh god. All right, anyway. So yes, growing up as a nerd nowadays seems like it would be a trip because I don't think you'd know you're a nerd unless the older generation has told you that you're a nerd. Because you'd just be doing things you like without there being this moniker or this judgment, so to speak. And then, I didn't say monocle.
See?
What? I feel like you're mixing two things.
The races.
And Corey's thing should be fun. And then I will hopefully not have to hear from him anymore saying that I really wish someone would do a surprise party for me. And if he does, the next one we plan has to just be atrocious so he never asks again.
That brings me to that topic I talked to you a long time ago about doing a D&D campaign, but doing it like Mad Lib style. Wherever you come up to something, you pull something out of the deck of cards from Cards Against Humanity. God, it'd be so good. You come around a corner and there's...
It's basically improv.
Fiery
Is
AIDS.
that?
Improv.
Yeah, I know. With the Cards Against Humanity cards, like the worst. Like,
Oh, I know.
ideas
I
and
own
whatever.
like all the expansions. It's
Here is
great.
your prize. A windmill full of corpses. Sweet.
Leveling up to deflower the princess.
He gives you the only weapon available, the biggest, blackest dick. Oh, God. I want to do it so bad.
This sounds ridiculous.
You wield it!
All right. Anybody else have anything closing, or we're going to wrap this bitch up?
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. All right. So next week, Corey will be back in the studio, hopefully. And then, yeah, we're going to be reviewing the newest season of Mandalorian.